So,
Hello.
hello, in 1 minute, we'd like you to introduce yourself the way you want to be addressed.
Okay. My name is Onwuzurumba Chioma Joan. You said it right. I'm a football education strategist. I like being a girl. I love the sport. I
Mm,
love God a lot.
wow.
And I like to have a lot of fun. So that's it.
Nice, 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 nice. To start with, I believe you understand what our platform is majorly about. We care more about the grassroots athlete, not just football, but grassroots athlete as it stands. But our focus on this interview will be much more on football because that's your tough, basically. So the first one is to tell us about your background, and the second one is to tell us about the initiative or things you're doing in respect to your background. That's which is education, basically. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll be up to
Thank
you.
you
Yeah.
so much for having me again. And you can tell by my long names, I'm Igbo. I'm from Anambra State. I was born in Enugu State, by the way, a city of very beautiful footballers. I grew up watching a lot of football games, and my mom actually, she made me watch a lot of football games, Nigerian football games, the World Cups, and then my cousin took me to my first live game. That was in Enugu, I guess. Rangers were playing.
Rangers. I was about saying Rangers.
Yeah, that was my first game. I can't remember. It's been like years. Rangers played Enyimba and they lost to Enyimba. So that was my first um face to face with football and I fell in love. So but with football education, I moved from Enugu. I had to move because I came to work as an educator. I moved in 2016 and when I got to Abuja, I was supposed to, be focusing on teaching my 3-year-olds numeracy and literacy. But I would always go to this place where I would watch football, catch the games, Arsenal, whatever they were playing, anything, UEFA, Bundesliga, Liga, all these games. And Mide walked up to me. So Mide is the CEO of Five Stars Football Consultancy. He caught me in between games and then he started talking to me about the forthcoming Five Stars Premier League, a grassroots Five Stars Premier League. It's five-a-side, by the way, and I loved all he had to say. And I said to myself, you know what? I think this is what I should be doing because I don't like being a slave to the curriculum in the classroom. Why not take, my education into football. So that was how it started.
Wow.
And yeah,
And
and
what initiative have you been a part of? Because I know you're very big on education online, and you're very
yeah.
vocal about it. And you it's more like an you embody it sort of. So, what initiative have you been involved with? Yeah, looking at you and how you go about things and how you deliver things. You also anchor, football stuff. I've seen you in one or two events you're anchoring when it comes to, that. So I've seen the way your ability to educate people, even while talking and delivering football topics and everything. You can still feel this educational thing in it. So, what initiative have you driven through, your platform? Yeah.
Okay, so the Abuja Elite League happens to be the most recent initiative I'm working on. I mean, we kicked off in October 2023. We kicked off on, I think, October 21st. Yeah. So it's the latest initiative I'm working on. It's big, it's mind blowing, it's 18 weeks. I'm in love, it's taking all of me. And the second initiative is the Slum to Stardom. So Slum to Stardom is a podcast, by the way. So it's Slum to Stardom with Ola, one of my teammates. We always work together on football tournaments. So what do we do with Slum to Stardom? It's also an educational initiative to speak to the grassroots footballers, grassroots teams. We've had Mr. Abdul. Mr. Abdul is the He's the owner of Pride FC, and Pride FC is one of the grassroots elite football teams. Okay, he's been on the show. He came there. That was 2 months ago, and we spoke about giving the grassroots players and grassroots teams a better image. We've also had guests like Mr. Nosa. Mr. Nosa happens to be one of the 2013 AFCON winning team. He was there. We brought him to also educate the upcoming footballers in the grassroots system. I mean, my latest guest was Brownie Day, Mr. Brown.
Yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can
so,
respect that.
and we're expecting to get more guests. So these two actually very big. You see the way I'm stressing the big is big for me because I need to make sure I do so much and do enough because the organizers are expecting a lot, from me and my team, the good guys I work with.
Mm. Nice. We for someone like me personally and the crew here, we follow your work religiously. So we're just telling you now, so you can bring in bigger guests and much more guests. And I think for us, it's not about the name; it's about the depth the person has to offer the grassroots sport, basically, which is
Exactly.
one thing we're very particular about. And we're more like in all, we're more concerned about the grassroots because that's one aspect of do I use the word the structure of football that's not looked into enough in Nigeria, and I
They are the
think
hub. I think they are
you
the
know
hub.
yeah, and without them being put right or set right, I think would have a lot of issues going forward in every aspect of the game. Because let's take, for instance, Olympics is coming up very soon. You don't have how to source for this right talent, and there are lots of talent in Nigeria to start with. In every sport, you have lots of them, and we only focus more on the big stars and everything. If you go through a lot of sport, I'm not critiquing anybody. It's just everybody's focus and vision. Ours is just to focus more on a particular set of people. If you go through almost 80 to 90% of the sport program, they are much more concerned about the established footballers, established these, but we don't talk about those that are struggling, those that are growing, those that are in the grassroots. And I think that's one
Yeah,
of the main issue we're having with our leagues because they are declining because you're not giving them the right attention. Some people don't even know that you can't even name 10 Nigerian footballers that are playing in Nigerian league. It's that bad that we really don't give attention to those people. And one thing about it is this: if you don't give attention to those people, the future of the sport itself would be affected. And so going back to your
exactly.
passion and education and the grassroots talents, because I see, like you rightly said, now you have a program that's catering for the grassroots, and you're trying to bring in lots of top-notch people to educate the grassroots athletes and all that. And I also we observed here your involvement extends beyond football. I think when you're talking about education, how do you
Yeah.
integrate the importance of education with the grassroots, or how do you educate how do you tell the grassroots person like you need to be educated about certain things, this and this you need to get this right, this you need to get it right. So what's your perspective on that? How do you educate them basically? What do you tell them? How do you go about integrating these things into them?
Okay, like you mentioned, I actually have a diploma in childcare and early learning. So you can tell that education is not, it doesn't scare me anymore. And I know that applied knowledge is power. And these
True.
footballers are constantly applying themselves. Okay, they're applying their legs, they apply their stamina, they're applying their personality, their mind. So, it's big for me going into the grassroots, system. It's something I did out of love, out of passion, because I mean, I had the opportunity of teaching 3-year-olds numeracy and literacy. 9-year-olds, I taught them basic science and agricultural science. And I said, okay, now I have to take my classroom to these footballers because I need them to be sharper. I need
True.
them to have that cutting edge. Okay. So the importance of education to an average grassroots football player is that it gives them confidence. Have
True.
you ever seen the taste of confidence on a grassroots player? I've worked with a lot of them. And
Okay.
these
Most of
guys,
them, sorry for interrupting. Most of them don't even
no
have
problem.
a social media presence. There was a couple of them I was trying to
Exactly.
work with recently, and I had to dig and dig, get somebody's number through this and everything. And by the time you get to meet them, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my phone, my this." I'm like, "Come on, fam,
Yeah.
this is 2023, this is 2024, man. You should get these things right. Why would you tell me you don't have a
True.
social media presence? You don't have. It's not expensive. And it's not like this person can't speak good English or it can't write good English. I think they just have this image of themselves like until they cross over to maybe the other side, they haven't made it big, kind of. But yeah,
Yeah.
back to that,
You do have a point. You do
I
have
just
a point because that's where we come in, okay? Because on this Abuja Elite League project, I made the footballers work. I asked the grassroots teams to send us a representative that would help us, direct the shoots. Because some of them are not used to this. They just see me as, oh, this troublesome girl that likes to run her mouth. She speaks a lot of grammar. She's here again. So I'm like, you guys, I already did the script. So you're going to be holding the camera. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be behind. We're going to direct the shoot. And not just the shoot, we are going to have interviews. And I can tell you that, in as much as some of them were stressed, because they have to get up as early as 5 a.m., to make their trainings and all of that. But at the end of the day, I found out that these guys learned a lot from this project. Some of them are going on Instagram, they are getting Instagram pages, they are saying hello, hi, they are communicating, they want you in their faces now, they are comfortable, they're no longer scared of, how my mouth runs. They match up. I spoke to one of the footballers. He decided to speak to me in pidgin, and he thought I couldn't speak in pidgin, and I shocked him. Yeah, and it was so cute because I tell them you don't have to sound or twist your tongue like me.
true.
It's hard work at Igbo. Do you understand? It takes me a lot, so you don't have to twist your tongue. But
True.
so far, you can look me in the eyes and have a communication with me. I'm okay. So that's the importance of education. These guys are getting better. They are branding themselves and, they are more interested in what they have to offer more than legs. I always tell them, I'm so sorry, but it's the system. Because most people that they've worked with just see them as people that their legs work. Let me just use this one, use him and sell him off, and that's that. But I'm telling them now, you can do more. You can do more. You can brand yourself and get other people interested. You can even become a tailor. I know someone who sews, by the way, but let me not take much of your time.
No, obviously, okay, like there's this friend of mine that is into boxing, is a sport is a promoter, One Bank Nation, and he signed a couple of Nigerian boxers. I think like 5 years ago thereabout, and one of the challenges they had is most of them just want to dump on him like, okay, now I'm signed to you. You have to feed me. You have to do this. You have to do everything.
Yeah,
And he came in from England, and his own orientation is, guys, you can still get something else doing while you're
exactly.
boxing. It even went as far as buying one Okada, like do Okada business during when you're done with your training in the morning, and in the probably from afternoon down to the evening, you can get this thing done, because getting you a fight is going to take a while. So don't just jump on
Yeah,
me and say, you're waiting on me to fix stuff. You just want to be boxing and all that. He tried educating them, but I think it's also a mindset thing. I think after like a couple of months, the guy sold the bike, spent the money, and went back to square one. When I was speaking to my friend, he was extremely upset. Like, why would you sell something I gave you as a means of livelihood, and you're now coming back to me to tell me, oh God, I don't sell this thing no because I needed to fix this and everything. So I think, like you rightly said, the priority, we don't set the priorities right, and then we don't have maybe educators or a system to educate them about how to go about things, basically, which is where
yeah,
people like you, me, and other people comes in. And once we can put this kind of things into them, they get it. I think growing and moving on, they would be able to like imbibe all those things into whatever thing they do. And one other thing I think affects a lot of people, because And one of the reasons why we started this platform, I saw like a couple of retired footballers one time in this particular country, and I see how they
Okay.
struggle. I was very very hurt in my mind. Like, how would this kind of person, with the pedigree this kind of person had, even if the career was short lived, maybe 2 3 years, you
Yeah.
played in some top leagues, you should be able to have this sort of investment or something. You should, I don't know, I think maybe they don't plan their retirement and all that. So that educational part was one of the things I told myself, like, if we want to work with any athlete, I think, or if
Yeah.
you, anything I want to do, we should be able to educate them financially, legally, and also
Yeah.
to understand their environment. A lot of people don't plan for their future, and I think it starts from the grassroots. Once you get it right, once you impute or imbibe some certain lessons into them, it works. It helps them, during their growth level. Let's take, for instance, the
Yeah.
player has been signed. He gets abroad. He doesn't even understand the environment he's going into. He's not even planning. As a footballer, you have a timeline. Anything can happen at any time. What is your insurance policy? What are the things you have, in place? What are the things you have for next 5 years, 10 years? Okay, what if something happens next year and you're no longer playing? You're earning 100K this week. What happens? What's your plan for the near future and everything? So those are the part of things. Those are the things we are very keen about, which we see you do, and really appreciate about. I appreciate you for that. But my next question goes to, what are the things you really educate them about? What are the things you take out time, like you rightly said, not quite long, you teach them about self-awareness. So what are the other
Yeah.
things? What is your, you as a person now, what's your brand? What do you stand for when it comes to educating athletes?
Okay, firstly, I because I enjoy watching a lot of brands, I watch a lot of branding, a lot of marketing videos because I want to see how someone can go from this to this. So I'm all about self development, psychologically, mentally, spiritually, and all of that. I always like to do that a lot. And then there's the brand management, there's how you present yourself. Because, like you rightly mentioned, you talked about the retired footballers who never fall back on things. Okay. I took it upon myself to actually start doing researches. I started looking at some European footballers. Giorgio Chiellini. Giorgio
Yeah.
Chiellini, he just retired. Yeah. So he has a degree in commerce. He has a degree in commerce, by the way. I think economics or something, maybe some masters. Same as Gerald. These guys are all, they have degrees. And when you come to the grassroots system, you have people that don't even have means of, livelihoods. Their parents can't even afford to feed them and things like that. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to start from somewhere. First of all, I need to get you out of this mental box you have. You're not just a footballer. You're first a person before you became a footballer. So I'm going to teach you how to shape shift from here to here. So what do we do? I need to put them in front of the cameras. We're always using the tournaments, by the way. I have to mention the tournament is always a very big avenue to educate those boys. You have to start putting them in front of camera. You have to bring them to meetings. I'm telling you, meetings, some of them dread meetings. If you know the grassroots to understand what I'm talking about, they
Yeah.
dread meetings. They dread strategy meetings. They dread, oh my days, they dread anything that will make them do something differently. So I focus on that self-branded mostly because these guys are actually, I mean, they're like a vessel full of treasures. But because they've just told themselves, you know what, I just want to keep chasing football and all of that, some of them can become agents in the future. I tell them that. I ask
True.
them questions like, if you got injured, okay, let's say they ship you up to Amsterdam and getting there, you're injured and you can't play anymore. What are you going to fall back on? Hmm? What? And they'll tell you, it will heal now. You fall back. I'm like, that's the reason why we have many frustrated footballers because you
Mindset
don't
is
have a fallback
real.
plan. I'm not trying to force you to get a PGD or get a master's in anything, but can you get the basic education? Know how to recognize the right agency to go to, know how to recognize the right team to work with, know how to recognize, I mean, frauds. There are frauds everywhere.
True.
Know how to present yourself on social media. I don't want to take it to a politics class, but just know how to sell yourself because it starts with getting them out of their head.
Yeah.
Most of them live in their head because once you get somebody out of their head, they can do anything for you and for themselves. So I'm all about the self brand management. Do you
Okay,
understand?
nice. Nice. Yes, yes. I think I understand where you're coming from. And which takes me to the next question. You know, we understand the educational part and everything. I believe you work with lots of international agents and or scouts, basically. And I know a lot of people out there, they really want to hear this part and hear, oh, Chioma, can she help us get a club in Romania or in Sweden or because I've seen you with a couple of them. Don't.
Which people? Which
I've seen,
people? I
I've
beg
seen
you. Which
you.
people did you
I've
see
seen you with
with?
few scouts, or should I use the word? Yeah, people that are invested in getting grassroots footballers and all that. So, how would you suggest, or how would you advise a grassroots star or athlete on how to be discovered? Then we now go straight to your tournament. The next question will be about the Tough Arena Mini League.
Okay.
'Cause I know you're involved in quite a number of tournaments. So you cannot be involved in those tournaments and scouts or agents will not be addressing or approaching you. They would be coming
Hmm?
to watch. They would, unless the players are not good enough, unless even if they're not good enough, you might not know that there are scouts there sitting down, looking and jotting and taking notes and all that. So that's why I'm asking this question. How do you deal with them, especially when you see a potential, like you said, fraudulent scout? How do you identify them? And how do you stop the talent that works with you from falling victim to such scouts? How do you stop it? How do you work? What's your working relationship with some scouts? And how, if you have to advise a player, oh, okay, you want to go abroad, you want to do this, what would your advice be?
Okay, first of all, I like the fact that you're spraying me gold like this, you know. I take it, I take it, you know. But the thing is, yeah, I work in a lot of tournaments. I have face value with football teams, grassroots football teams. I run into managers, I run into administrators, and I've been told I have good eyes, by the way. But speaking about scouting, I have never thought about that. So what I do is because I'm always going to be in the background, by the way. So you are not you're not wrong. I'm always in the background when, some of these guys come around and they are hanging around. Okay, because I have the opportunity of sitting in their presence because of the nature of my job. I remember let me tell you this story. There was a time I think I went to NAPTIP office, NAPTIP. Yeah, they are the agency in charge of trafficking of persons and all of that in Nigeria. So we were talking about some football partnership we're working on. I was still with Five Star Football Consultancy. So they were trying to tell us that there are certifications and registrations that are expected of agents.
Wow.
By agents, I mean scouts now.
And all
I
that.
mean managers that would want to come and take, our boys from Nigeria, take them abroad to play, things like that. I mean, I remember the director was trying to tell us a story about how, there's a chain of our boys over there who are being used. That's something I don't want to mention, and it really broke my heart. It broke my heart because I put myself in the shoes of their family members. Imagine if my son, you know, went out to play football and someone just deceives him without showing him the right certificate, without him having the mind to look online, not just look online, but know what to look at. Because these days people are cloning websites, you know the people to call. Do you understand? you know the right network. That's what I'm
So
always telling
sorry,
them.
sorry for interrupting
I've
you
had
there.
players come to my DM,
Yeah,
ask
sorry
me
for
questions.
interrupting you. So how do you
Okay.
help those footballers now, the grassroots footballers, against such? Because you have, like I call them human traffickers. There are lots of agents. I've been to some certain places whereby I heard some one horrible things happen to a certain footballer or certain footballers. I've been to places and I've seen some of them sign even horrible contracts whereby,
Yeah.
in their contract, they are not even getting paid by the club. They are getting
Mm-hmm.
paid
Without
by the
reading.
agent, the so-called agent. And inside
Yeah.
some of them don't even know what their contract looks like. They don't even know that they are not insured by the club in the
Yeah.
contract. They don't have injury protection. They just sign them off, and the sign off fee even went to the so-called agent. So how do you help grassroots people, grassroots athletes, you know, in curbing and seeing and sieving this kind of people, basically?
Yeah, so what we do for them is we even make sure that the people we work with during our tournaments, yeah, you have grassroots teams that are being owned, or maybe they co-partner with some foreigners now. I can talk about there's this team and youth. I think they work with some Turkish people, and we have high boss. So these guys, they work with the guys over there. So we even go to the extent of making sure that before we work with you, we check your background out, check who you're working with, because we don't want to come and start saying, let us explain. Do you understand? And
Yeah.
when we're doing this, we also make it, we run a transparent tournament. It's not something we do just for the leaders. We also do this in the presence of the football teams, in the presence of the footballers. Okay, there's this press meetings where you get to sit down. Everybody is represented. Everybody's saying, this is where I'm coming from. This is what I've done. I've worked with this person. I've worked with this person. You can check me out. So while you're in such, strategy meetings, grassroots press meetings, the players can see that the person you're putting them in front is somebody that you have vetted.
Mm.
Do you understand what I mean? So, because
Yeah.
education is something you do every time on the spot. It's not something you're covert about. It's something that you have to do it in the presence of the people you want to be educated.
So it helps that.
So they already know.
Yeah. So
Yeah, they
what you're
already know.
Okay, so what you're saying indirectly is any scout agent that you work with has to be extremely vetted. Good, good. Moving
Ah,
forward. Good, good. Now
yeah.
we're going to the questions of the tournament because I know you're involved in Tough Arena Mini League. Can you tell us what's the Arena Mini League about? What's the relevance to grassroots sport on its own? What's the relevance? Because I see you're involved in that. You're involved in Abuja Elite League, and like you said, the 5-star league. You've done that prior to this time, so what's your involvement? How has Tough Arena Mini League, helped you in discovering or helped you in shaping or help you in grooming the grassroots footballers basically?
Okay, so you are saying I'm only with Top Arena Mini League, that project was exciting. I like to be in the presence of excitement a lot.
Okay.
We had very important teams. I can still remember AS Roma. AS Roma has an academy in Nigeria.
Yeah,
I
obviously.
think their sports director is Mr. John. Mr.
Okay.
John. We had the likes of Olympic Hybrid. We had Jibril FC, and it's competitive, by the way. That one was competitive. There's money inside. Once you call money like this, everybody's asking, let's come and collect this money or what? And
True.
you know how it is now. Turf Arena Sports Complex is popular for tournaments, football tournaments. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, sports complex, basketball, all of that. But when we talk about their football tournaments, it's mind blowing. So when we started, the first mini league was in 2021, and it was Jubilee FC that won. So I was a part of the second mini league tournament. It was won by High Bus, by the way. That one was big. You had the movers and shakers in the grassroots team coming. Almost we must collect this money, and it was fun. It was fun because you had teams, calling you even when we had, no slots left. Teams are always getting interested because that's what we preach to the grassroots system. Do not just stay in your corner. I support staying in your corner and playing, football. Because I mean, I grew up in Enugu, so I understand street football a lot. You can stay in your streets, like the boys in camp. They can form a whole tournament. Obiago boys can form a whole tournament, and nobody's disturbing them. But we're trying to educate them to put themselves in front of bigger tournaments, bigger platforms that would offer them, visibility. Because what we give to these teams and the players, we give them so much. We give them a global presence. I can tell you that some of the players that played in the mini league are already chilling in one continent or the other as a
Can you
result
mention
of,
names?
I am telling you, I am
Can you
telling
mention
you,
names? So no, you
I
know,
beg.
I'm telling you to mention names. Let me give you the
Feed me
reason why.
well, feed me well now. Let me
No,
do
no.
the thing for you.
It's
Okay,
about
okay,
it's
okay.
about
I can
it's
give you
about
one. I can
experience.
give you one.
Okay.
I can give you one. So there's this goalkeeper. I'm trying to remember his name now. Very good goalkeeper. He plays for Olympic Hybrid. I recently, that was last week, I was checking him out on Instagram and I saw that he's already chilling somewhere. This was somebody I worked with in 2022 mini league. I had him stand behind the flex banner. He was talking about the saves he had made and everything. Very hardworking young man. But this guy is not on this planet. I'm not even saying planet. Somebody guy has spotted. He has moved into another continent. I can tell you that, his grassroots days are behind him in a very good way. Do you understand? So, and that mini league, the mini league was big. I can tell you that it was the popularity of the mini league that bettered the, Abuja Elite League. So I'll leave it there.
So it was a transition from the mini league to the Abuja Elite League, which is where we're
You
going
can,
now. Anyway,
you
now I
can
think I'm
say
seeing the
that.
connection now. I think I'm getting the
Yeah,
I'm
you
getting
can
the
say
story
that.
now. Yeah, because um I wouldn't want to say Abuja wasn't a football place prior to this time, right? There are lots of footballers
You
in
can
Abuja.
say,
Don't get me wrong. You can. They had okay. One of the things that help discover grassroots talent is the number of
yeah,
tournaments you have in an environment, right?
true,
Let's take for instance because you
true.
cannot just you can't showcase your talent if you're not being if you're not in a tournament. I remember those days, I
Yeah,
think like 7 or 8 years ago, when Drew he came, he was going all around Lagos doing a scouting clinic. Now I
okay.
don't think you need to do all those again because there are tournaments you can go to, you can send your scouts to see those players. We don't need to call for a
Yeah,
scout clinic now when we get to Lagos or something and say, come, 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 come. The irony of it is this the best players don't really turn up for those kind of things.
yeah.
In
So
some
you're kind of
instance,
part of
some would, because some of them are just like it's just going to be like the normal thing. They already have their people and everything. They're just going to select their guys and everything. Because that was what I heard then way back from some certain players. I was like, guy, come on. It was like all those agents, they have their own persons. They would have picked them. They would just waste my time and everything. But I know this guy, you are dope. And also one other thing I believe is this. You can't really get the best of a player in just a 30 or 1 hour scouting clinic you're doing in a day because
I agree.
I've worked with talent over time, and I know they have some of them they are frightened at that point. Some of them they really have this mental block, like, oh, this place is not, they as a talent you need your space to exhibit yourself. So they need to be
Yeah,
like a blog in a team that they function in to exhibit their talent. Sometimes it's not like you just pick them randomly, you play with this, play with it. It doesn't work that way. So the mini league now was I'm not when I was talking about Abuja not having such thing prior to this time, it's not like they don't have players, but they don't have
yeah,
tournaments to showcase those players. Because I was speaking with Coach Ayere recently, and he says the player is as good as the coach. and the coach is tested in tournaments, that are being that he goes for and he goes to. That's where he tests the skills he has and everything. And once he keeps doing that, it gets better. Same thing with the players. Once there are tournament for them to go to, they get better. It helps them build their confidence. It helps them build their skills and everything. So what I meant is, prior to this time, there wasn't something like that. So don't get me wrong. I know you're Team Abuja. You're about carrying with spanner and everything. I said, what do you mean? No, 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 no. I'm not. I'm not. I just meant this is helping them in that area discover new talent and grassroots talent, which is what we need more in different parts of the country. If we have this kind of tournament in, like, I know Lagos is doing a whole lot now. They have all sorts of private leagues in Lagos. If you have it in
Mm-hmm.
different places running simultaneously, maybe we wouldn't need to be scouting around for foreign players, Nigerian playing in these for Nigerians. We need to bring this and everything, because I think we're getting so caught up in that traffic now, where we have to start looking abroad for this and that, and we have a whole lot of talent. All we need is to
Yeah.
help them grow, and all we need is good coaches to help them in nurturing their and developing their skills, basically. So now we'll be going into the Abuja Elite League, the transitioning from the mini league to the Elite League. So, what inspired the creation of Abuja Elite League, which I think I already have a tidbit of already, and and what role does it play in discovering talent in Abuja, basically? Yeah, I think those are the questions to start with.
Okay.
Appetizer.
So the Abuja Elite League is, like I mentioned, is the recent, most recent, I can say, most recent project I'm working on, 18 league. We started in October. We had a break in December. We'll be back in February. You know, um, we have 10 teams, 10 elite teams, very serious 10 elite teams. And I can tell you that the Elite League was born out of a bit of frustration. You already mentioned something like that, a bit of frustration, because we know the government sector, they don't have that league system. They don't have that league system in place for the grassroots. They don't have it. And I feel like is my opinion now. They don't pay us they don't pay us the attention that we need. The grassroots system is suffering a lot. And the grassroots system is where they take all their boys from. That's where they fill up their NPFL teams from. They fill up the national teams and sell boys from, the grassroots system, but they don't pay us any attention. So it's one of the reasons why the organizers of Abuja Elite League said, you know what? We're tired of being put in a place our boys won't grow. Our boys get shocked. They have culture shocks, when they leave Nigeria and go elsewhere. Our boys are treated like they're not humans because we fail to educate them in the right way. So let's start Abuja Elite League. There was a first season. The first season was in 2022. I didn't work the first season, so I'm working the second season. Now, this second season is interesting because it's everything the league system has. We have
Can you,
an app that
sorry
allows
for
you
interrupting.
to.
Can you tell us those things the league has now? Let's take, for instance,
Okay, I'm about to tell you. I'm
okay,
about
good.
to tell you.
So
We
people will
have
know,
the
maybe they
home.
have to start potting into Abuja now for the Elite League.
Please do, please do. You're missing, by the way. We
Okay.
we have the home and away games where teams have to, pick their home pitches. And coming to that, there are some grassroots teams that don't even have artificial turfs to play on, something that is close to them.
Mm,
Okay, but now we're using the Buhari Stadium somewhere in Abuja, a very interesting place it should be. We're using the Area 3, that's a government owned pitch, Area 3 artificial turf. We're using the Turf Arena Sports Complex pitch. So you have grassroots teams, sharing home grounds. Do you
okay.
understand? But there are no clashes. So that's one of the future of a proper league. We have the transfer system. The transfer system is real.
Within the
During the
10
break, I can
within the 10 teams, they transfer within the.
yes,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's happening. I can tell you that a team like High Boss, that HB. They would want a player from Pride FC, for an example, and they would go to Pride FC, have some conversations with the representatives of Pride FC, the coach, the management, and say, okay, we want him to come on transfer here. And it happens. We get the documents, we facilitate it. It's real, it's done on the app. We have players registration. We take it seriously. If your picture doesn't match your face when you shop, me, don't worry, me, as skinny as I am, I will throw you out of the tournament. And it won't happen.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm telling you, like we start checkmating this thing now in the grassroots. So we tell you that there's no room for cutting corners. Can't cut corners here.
Mhm.
If you say you are, because okay, I failed to mention this. It's an under 20 player development league.
Okay.
Under
So
20. So
a
it's
50-year-old man cannot be fielded, or a 25-year-old guy cannot just transfer himself and come. But what if he's 25
yeah.
and he says he's 18? How did you get to know?
See my eyes. See
How do
my
you
eyes.
know? If he's 25 and
Red
he says
eyes.
he's 18, how would you know? Do you test their bones?
I am not testing anybody's bones that is still alive, by the way, but I'm
So,
just telling you that the documentation, it starts from the team. We
okay,
have 10 teams. Let me mention some of the teams we have so you know that they are not people who mess around. We
okay,
have Galadima FC. I'm
okay,
talking elite, it's Abuja Elite League. So you can't come there and start acting like, you're
mm,
coming from somewhere. There's Galadima FC, there's Stuff Arena FC, there's Debbie Football Academy, we have
okay,
Pride FC, Tribe Like, N Youth, we have
okay,
HB, Sporting Supreme. HB is actually in the NNL, by the way, so you can go check them out. They are trying to find a spot for themselves and the NPFL soon. So these are elite teams that we are checking these guys out. Even when even when you have to see, we check them out down to their first aid kits. I'm telling you this one because I'm in charge of that one. There's a checklist for first aid box. And if your first aid box doesn't meet everything on the checklist, you're out. Your first aid person needs to be certified. Because if he doesn't have the certificates or the know-how to even carry out the job, so what would you do if somebody passes out? What would you do if someone falls down due to maybe a head collision or something? We've had something like that before. And all the guys, all the physiotherapist guys, all the first aid people were able to make sure that this guy stayed alive and he's alive playing for his team. So that's a proper league system. We bring your coaches to a press conference. You will defend yourself. It's not about rapping English. You need to know your players. You need to make sure you keep them in order.
so if
I
I'm
can't have your players fighting.
sorry for
I can't go
interrupting.
out and see your players
So
fighting. Yeah.
what's the reward system for this now? Because you in having all these teams together now play, and with the standards and everything being set and being put in place, it, people get tired after they play like 1 or 2 3 seasons and there's no reward. Like, oh, the standard is so up there and everything. So what is the reward system for Abuja
Okay.
Elite League? And both in terms of the club and the players now, because we need motivation as a person. I can't be
Yeah.
playing season in, season out, and I'm having a pseudo league in my mind, and you're telling me
Yeah.
at the end of the season, what do I go home with? And secondly, funding. How do you people fund this league? Because after a while, you have a standard. What sustains standard is funding. If you don't want to
Yeah.
cut corners, there has to be money coming in. Do you sell
Yeah.
tickets? How do you fund this league? So those two questions, please.
Okay. Your first question is what do we offer to these
Yeah, what's the
teams?
reward?
Like, sorry, to the teams.
Yeah.
We're giving them a global presence. Global
Okay.
presence, very important. At least you know the power of a hashtag now. You know where, a simple tweet or a simple social media presence can get you. We have the videos on YouTube and is accessible. Anybody can go check them out. We're giving your players experiences of a lifetime. Some of your players that you feel, we're not marketable. We're
True.
giving them a platform to make them better. So your
Okay.
players are getting development, they are getting better. I can tell you, the newcomer, this tournament, we have N youth. They are the newcomer. This is their first Abuja Elite League. They are fielding very young boys, healthy young boys that are hungry and want to serve their purpose. And I can tell you that their first game was different from what we got out of them in the ninth week. They are getting better before my eyes. I mean, you can say I'm a girl. What am I looking at, by the way? But I
No,
can
you
tell
were
you
also, so you should be able
the
to know when a player is growing.
exactly, exactly, because sometimes some people are like, how do you know? But I'm like, I can tell. These guys were not the first people that played this first game. They were not the same guys that played the second game. It's just, I mean, if I keep talking about what we're giving the teams and the players, I mean, we can stay here the whole day. So moving on to your second question. Wow, to be able to do something like that, you need sponsors. That's one thing that I know some people can see. People always see things like this, they notice because we're all on social media these days. But some people, I don't know if it's fear or I don't know what it is. They don't want to come in and offer what they can give because this is me telling you that it's not easy. The grassroots system is not something one man or 10 men can do. It's something the nation has to be involved in. I'm talking the governments, the private sectors, they need to understand the need. They need to understand the value of what we're selling. It's not just about making money off this boys' legs and other things. We're offering more value. So it's not easy, but I'm not the one doing the books, but I'm telling you, I've seen the
Obviously.
books that is not easy.
Obviously.
We need more hands, more pockets, more legs, everything.
Okay. They're all hearing you. And in conclusion, let's just round up with this. What's the future plan for you as a person? And lastly, what would be your advice to the grassroots player watching you now or listening to you? What do you have to tell them? How do you encourage them towards accomplishing their goals? Thank you. And I think after that we're done.
Okay. For me, wow, I intend to work in North grassroots tournaments. Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, anywhere. I
Okay.
want to work more tournaments because no one tournament is the same. You
True.
don't have the same experiences, you had here, over there. So that's the plan. I want to give all I have to offer to the grassroots. I also keep doing some researches. I'm working on a project that's going to, keep me in the faces of grassroots football teams and players, by the way. So it's going to be a kind of a chat. I don't want to reveal everything now, but I want to put myself out there. I want to take time and maybe turn up in classes, sit down with them, understand what they are dealing with. And for every grassroots footballer out there, you can do it. I'm telling you, if someone like me that can't use her legs to play football is playing it with her mouth and her ears, you that you have the legs, come on now. You can. I mean, you have the money maker. So open up your mind. Open up your mind needs to be open. You're not just a pair of legs. You're more. You're first a human being before you became a footballer. We actually have footballers now in the Premier League who are taking courses in coaching. They're taking courses in, soft skills. These days, you don't even have to go to the four walls of a classroom to get an education. Take trainings. Take trainings. You can work as a logistics person. What if you break your legs? What are you going to do? I don't want you to break your legs. I don't want you, but have something. something you can do. I know a goalkeeper that makes very lovely dresses, but he still goalkeeps. He used to he plays for Aqua United, but he's on loan to a club in Enugu, and he's doing just fine. And I met him in the grassroots system in Abuja. So this is, I mean, I have a lot to say to them, but I need you to just remember one thing today: you are more than your pair of legs. So find out more. That's just a tip of who you are. So that's it.
I feel very touched now. The way you're saying it, as in, I feel so touched. So you out there, if
Really?
you're watching. This is Chioma. If you need to reach out to her, I would put her handle in, with the caption where we release this, and watch out for more. And because we're still gonna have her over and over again, because we know she has lots of projects she'll be working on, and we'll be bringing her on board to tell us about it. Thank you very much for your time to start with. We really appreciate you. There's a whole lot of questions we didn't ask, but probably maybe another time we will.